How's it going, guys, and welcome to the final ever Last to First challenge on F1 2014. We are going to be in the McLaren Honda of Fernando Alonso for a 50% race around the Red Bull Ring. This is going to be probably the most difficult Last to First I've ever done, but with a strategy that I've got planned, it could possibly work, but we'll see how we go. The setup you're going to be seeing on your screens is the one I'm using for the race. If you want to use it, please feel free to pause the video, and if you miss any bits of it, you could use it for your own career mode or online experience on F1 2014 or on 2015 when that comes out on the 10th of July. As you can see, just showing you the grid very quickly there, and hopefully with this final last to first challenge, we're going to try and get 100 likes on this episode. We've got a free stop strategy, but I'm going to be attempting a two-stop, which is very risky considering the last stage of the Grand Prix. The quicker guys will be on the faster super soft tyre during this race. So we're leaving the garage now to start our last ever Last to First challenge on F1 2014. It's going to be a bit easier than the last time I tried this on an F1 2015 mod, as it got updated and updated the cars, and the McLaren's slightly quicker than it was before, so we're going to see how this goes very well or not. But with Legend AI mistakes mods and everything, it's going to be interesting as the lights are on now. For the Austrian Grand Prix, the lights are out and away we go, and we get a fantastic start. Fernando Alonso does already get past Roberto Merri already in that Mana Marussia as we come to the shortest line to turn 1 nearly. I think it's Monaco, or I can't remember which one it is, but look how slow we have to be, and Perez seems to cut the corner there, so you'll be getting a slowdown possibly, as we're going to get the draft from Will Stevens, who's made a stonking start up to 16th place, as we're going to get the draft now from Pastor Maldonado, so we're going to go down the inside of him, and also Will Stevens as we come into turn 2. Very slow, and Verstappen completely cuts the corner there. Don't know how he's not got away with a penalty or something, at least with that. Nasser's had a mistake as well out of the hairpin, and we're going to take that opportunity and go up into 15th place. Hulkenberg's checking up for Carlos Sainz for some reason, and we go past both of them up into 13th place, so we've made a fantastic start. 7 places gained already, but the field will start to spread now once the cars get up to speed and not tightly packed, as we'll just hit the back of Max Verstappen, who goes very slow through that corner. I do not know why he's going slow for some reason through mid-corner on there. So we're coming now to the end of the first lap, and we're already back into that draft of Max Verstappen, but we're going to brake slightly early and turn in very smoothly there, because this track is demanding on tyres through this last sector. Double right-hander to end the lap is very key to get the lines right. So we're coming on the end of that one. We've got the draft from Verstappen, so we're going to go down the inside of him, up to 12th position we go. That's thank you very much, and on our merry way. Next up we have, I think it's Romain Grosjean is the next car in front in the Lotus. As you can see him just up there, so we're going to maybe use our ERS, which is obviously automatic in this game, so it happens at random points on the track, and we're already on the back of him as he's had to check up for Jenson Button, our teammate. So maybe some team orders are being played here by the McLaren Honda boys. But we've already got a second gap already to Max Verstappen behind. But you can see the speed we've got from the draft from Grosjean, and he's made a check up again. Maybe he's missed the apex a bit, locked up a bit as well with this AI mistakes mod. The AI around here are a bit clumsy at times. They decide to brake a bit earlier than times and go very wide on there, making that mistake. As the mod is mainly at some stage of the race, drivers do tend to go wide or have an off, and there is a moment in this race I think where you see it, but Grosjean there, we try to go on the inside, but overtaking to this corner is quite difficult, and we could get a penalty, as we did get in the career mode around here way back in season 2 I think it was, in Austria, where we couldn't race. But anyway, we got past Grosjean down the straight now without any DRS, as it has been enabled this time by, and the gap in front is around about a second to 2 seconds there, but there's a train of cars up ahead which you will see momentarily as we're moving on slowly now as we go up the hill toward this tricky hairpin corner. You can just see everyone's checking up in front, and I think it's Daniel Kvyat there in the Renault who's struggling with his Renault engine on there, and obviously the cars in front are checking up. So what that means for us is we can tactically go down to lead to save fuel, and Jenson Button there completely brake checks us before the corner. Maybe he just reacts to Daniel Kvyat, but that's going to help us a bit as we're coming into, I think this is turn 4, and we're going to try and hook it round the outside as he's gone way too much on the steering lock there, but we cannot get that move done. So we're just going to stay behind Jensen, but that means Romain Grosjean's on the back of us again. So we've got another battle in our hands here between the Lotus driver and our teammate. And again, we're going to just stay behind Jensen. No need to push through this corner, but we're going to get the DRS anyway on Jensen as we come out the final corner to start another lap with the DRS enabled, and we're going to get the move completely done here before turn 1. And we have got it nicely done into the points paying position, which is something that I would never say for Fernando Alonso. So this is going to be quite interesting to see if I've jinxed us or not. On to the end of lap 4 now, as we're all onto the back of Daniel Kvyat now. We're going to use the DRS again. The Renault engine has just got completely no chance against us. As you can see, look at the speed we've got, but no point making the move for turn 1. It is impossible to make a move unless you pass the Maldonado, obviously. So we're going to get the draft now. Are we going to get the DRS though? That is the question, and that answer is yes. Before the line, we passed Daniel Kvyat up into 9th position, and our next goal now is Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. Very tricky driver. He is very consistently good in real life. He had a bit of a moment in the real life Austrian Grand Prix, so a bit unfortunate for him. So we're on to lap 6 now, and we've just set a new PB of 11.6. Not the quickest overall, but we will take this so far as the tyres are starting to degrade slowly, and the pit stop window is nearly upon us. Around about laps 7 and 8 is when the front runners will pit. But look at the speed we've got on Marcus Ericsson. Got a fantastic exit, and we've gone purple in the first sector. Next up for us is Felipe Massa in that Williams Martini racing car, and luckily for us we get the DRS as well, so we can chunk some time out of Massa, who I think did not get DRS in front of him, with the car in front, which I believe is Daniel Ricciardo in that Red Bull, and in front of him we've got Kimi Raikkonen as well, all in a train of about 4 cars and 5 cars. You can see the rest of the pack are just completely gone. From 4th upwards have just gone from this train that I'm in. So we've got a lot of work to do if we're doing a 2-stop strategy, because you'll lose about 16 to 17 seconds on a pit stop. So we need to really push, get past these slow cars, and then really go for it. But our engine's a bit hot, so we need to be very careful on that. We will lose horsepower and speed on there, but we've got the DRS, we've got a better exit than the Massa. This is going to be quite interesting going into turn 1. It's become purple for the first time that I've ever seen during a video of mine, so that's quite a rarity for me. It's a 10.3, only slightly quicker than Hamilton, but we did get the DRS and slipstream from Massa during this race, and Marcus Ericsson as well. As we just go into the back of Massa, who's just had to react to Daniel Ricciardo braking a bit earlier. So we're going to try and do a switch back, but it didn't really work out for us. But we have got the draft again from Massa and the DRS. Are we going to get it done around the outside? This is going to be quite a risky move if we do it, but we're going to switch to the inside. But we back out of it on Massa and stay in line in formation with him to try and catch up to Daniel Ricciardo, who's in front of us on there. So 8th place is pretty promising so far for this race. Jensen Button, I have no idea where he is, as Massa checks up again, making the mistake going over the curb, losing the back end, which slowed him down, which we didn't really see, and we had to slow down as well. But the tyres seem okay, and the bad news for us, as you can just see in the bottom right, I've just noticed, is the DRS has been disabled for us, as Massa will dive into the pit lane, and another one pits as well. I think that's Daniel Ricciardo in as well. So the pit stop window has opened now for lap 7, but we are going to stay out there as we're going to move on now to lap number 9, as we have Nico Rosberg right in front of us here for 2nd position, as the rest of the pack did pit. So Hamilton, Vettel and co have all made their pit stops. Rosberg is next for us in 2nd place, who won this year's Austrian Grand Prix. And I take that back, we can see Vettel going into the pits as well. So it means for the first time in a very long time for Fernando Alonso, he's actually going to lead a Grand Prix. That is something that I would never say. It's actually Kimi Raikkonen who made the pit stop, I do apologise on there. So we will have a comfortable gap now to Lewis Hamilton, who did pit a lap earlier. So it's around about, I think it's about 7 seconds the gap, I believe. But the only issue we'll have, as you can see, the gap has dropped to 4.6 on the next lap. We lost a shed load of time with these tyres completely off the cliff. So we make the pit stop now as we go into our box. Maybe a bit conservative through the entry of the pit lane there, but I did not want to get a penalty or go into the wall. That's why I kept it nice and speedy. We are tactically going to the primes, which will mean we will be on the super softs, the same tyres as the rest of the pack once they make their 3rd pit stops later in the race. So we get a 3.7 there, good pit stop there, and there's a bit of a glitch here. I don't know why it does 0.6 of a second. I do not know why that's happened, but we were a bit clumsy out the pit lane there, not straight on the gas, which is not really what I wanted. But we are in clean air and only about 3 seconds behind Kimi Raikkonen, who was just going up the hill there. So we've made a massive jump on Bottas, Rosberg and co, as we've made a very good stint there. On to lap 16 we go, as the gap is around about 12 seconds, but I showed quite a bit of the highlights due to the pace. The gap between us and Raikkonen was not dropping a bit, so I left it to this bit when we make a shed load of time as we're on fresher tyres. Then Kimi Raikkonen, who is probably going to be pitting soon, as he's probably on the super soft tyres at this point. If you see someone going very slowly, we have a lock up and go slightly wide out of that corner, which is not really going to help us a bit, as I think Raikkonen is in the pits right now. It's actually Sebastian Vettel in, very early for Vettel, who will probably be going onto the prime tyres now after doing 2 super soft stints at the start. Going slightly wide out of turn 1, not what I wanted to do, but as you can see, Vettel will drop to 4th place or maybe even 5th on Bottas once Bottas goes round, and as I said that, Bottas has up to 4th position. Kimi Raikkonen doing pretty well, not really good in the real life race. He crashed out in the first lap by losing it completely and taking out Fernando Alonso. So we're moving on to lap 17 now, as Raikkonen is still out on the track and makes his pit stop now from 2nd place, as our tyres seem okay as well, which I've just spotted there. So Raikkonen will take a set of the prime tyres, I believe. We're just going to stay out nicely, and we're not pitting till lap 25, I believe, once we make our pit stop. Look, we've got a bit of a back mark here, but he's going to let us through. It is Roberto Merri in that Manarusha, who I feel sorry for in this race. He gets lapped, I think, 5 or 6 times, along with Will Stevens, so I do feel bad for them, in a way. Lap 20 we go, and we can see we've got a nice comfortable gap to Kimi Raikkonen. Obviously, he made his pit stop, but the gap in front is 9.5 seconds, so we really need to push now. As we see someone in the pits, I believe that is Lewis Hamilton pitting, I think. So, is it really? Was he on the? I think he was on the prime tyres for his 2nd stint. So he'll be going on to the super soft tyre now, and he will be going on it again at the end of the race. So, very interesting strategy by Lewis Hamilton there. So we will have to think about that. I was thinking why he pitted on 21, but he will be comfortably out in 2nd place from Raikkonen on there, as we've got a nice clean track. We've got 21 seconds clear of Raikkonen, so we didn't pit now. We'll be comfortably ahead of Raikkonen at this point. Our tyres are starting to go off a bit, so I need to be very careful on tyre wear. As we're on to lap 24 now, we can just see the back end sliding out, so I am starting to see signs of degradation on there, which will give Hamilton a bit of a sniff, as he is on super softs to gain more time on us. We're saying around about the 111s, 112s now, so we're really struggling, as Hamilton is in the 110s at this point. The gap's 5 seconds already, as Hamilton's chunked a load of time out of us. And again, we make a mistake slightly going wide, but we don't go off the track. We have to completely lift off just to commit the corner and make it just. As you can just see, we're in the 111.8s now, so we're close to 112 territory, when I know that is the sign to make a pit stop on there. As you can see, Hamilton's gained 0.4 of a second already in this lap alone, or in the last sector. And why that is he set a fastest lap of 10.1, 0.2 quicker than our fastest lap, so I need to be very vigilant on there. But you can see we're in lean at the minute, out of slow corners, just to help the rear traction, to stop the rear tyre spinning about on there. And we're going to go further down the lap now, onto 25, as we're going to be either side. As you can see, the gap's gone down to even 3.7 seconds. We lost 1.5 seconds on this lap, completely cut the pit entry there, so I was surprised to get a penalty for that, if that's not been implemented in the game. So we're into the pits now for our final pit stop, which will be onto the super soft, as Lewis Hamilton goes past to take back the lead of the race. Hopefully we are going to get ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, fingers crossed. Where is he? There he is, crossing the finish line, so we are going to lose out to Raikkonen again, but we're going to be comfortably ahead of Valtteri Bottas, as Vettel made a mistake during the stint, and Bottas got past, so he's now comfortably in 4th position now, as we're going to head now towards lap, halfway down the lap to 26, and you can see the grip we've got now in these super soft tyres. Very nice indeed for us, as we're going to be very, very aggressive through the curbs there. As you can see, our front right is getting extremely hot now, as we need to be very careful, as that is obviously one of the most demanding parts of the tyre during this race is that front right. But we're going to try and decrease this gap between us and Kimi Raikkonen as much. And obviously we've got some back markers coming out the pit lane. I don't know who that is, but there's a massive train of about 3 cars. Obviously Kimi Raikkonen is another one, so it's 4, but they're all going to go to the side and let us all through. There's a battle going on ahead of us, which is Nico Hülkenberg and Max Verstappen nearly going to the back of Nico Hülkenberg there. That would have been game over for us, but it gave us a purple sector, getting that slight draft from Nico Hülkenberg and Max Verstappen there. So the gap's now 1.5 seconds. We're extremely close now to DRS territory on Raikkonen, who is starting to see signs of degradation on his tyres, as he's going to be pitting very soon for his final stop, along with Lewis Hamilton. So obviously now we are not pitting, we're staying out on these super soft tyres to the bitter end. It's going to be extremely close, as we even made more time on Raikkonen. We're now purple as well, 8 tenths of a second is the gap, or actually 7.5 tenths. Bottas is 20 seconds down the road, so we're not going to be worrying about that. Slightly gone wide into that penultimate corner, and then we completely cut the last corner. I do apologise there, and I was being very nice, and I decided to not use the DRS at all due to the gain in speed on Raikkonen on there. As we see another car coming out of pit road, I believe that is a Lotus coming out there, as we set a 109.5 with the draft from Max Verstappen and Hülkenberg and Raikkonen as well. So we're going to try and get the move done down the inside of Raikkonen, but we back out of it completely on there. So we're going to try and stay with Raikkonen during this last little stint now, before he makes his pit stop, before we get to the crucial stage of the race when Hamilton pits. We do not know what the gap is between them, as we make a lock up there, going on the grass and locking the front right, which is not going to do our tyres any good, considering it's the front right as well, which is the most demanding tyre during this race, which is not going. Raikkonen again showing bad signs of tyre wear. He has to be pitting this time by, because he is struggling now on his tyres. He can't even make the apex of the corner. So we're going to find out now if he does pit. If we do know, when his name disappears, and it is now gone, which means he is going into pit road for the final time to put on his super soft tyres. And I believe Lewis Hamilton is in the pit lane as well. There he is, coming out of his pit box. So we are going to be taking back the lead from Lewis Hamilton, and we get the DRS as well, which will help us a bit down this long straight towards turn 1, as we've now got to take now what I believe is a 5.5 second gap now, but we'll find out what that is once we get through the first sector split time on there. So tyres are starting to show a bit of signs of tyre wear, as we make a massive lock up into the hairpin, braking extremely late, which I should not have done. And yes, the gap is 5.5 seconds to Lewis Hamilton. As we go on to lap 31 now, we're being told to pit, but we are not pitting in this race. We are not doing that one little bit, as we've got a back marker in front of us. I have no idea who it is. I believe, well, it's not our teammate, because our teammate's up the road slightly. We've just got a couple of cars ahead of us, but very nicely he lets us through. Felipe Nasser in 12th place, so we've nearly lapped half the field already, which is very good, as Hamilton's starting to drop the gap down to 4.7 seconds. It's going to be extremely close between us if this gap continues. Our tyres are starting to degrade every single lap. Those tyres are going off on there, as we got, I think that's Carlos Sainz Jr. is the next man we're going to be overtaking next to lap. So I need to be very, very careful here once we're through the back markers, because if we stay behind them, we're going to be struggling. But we're going to be going on now to the penultimate lap of the race, lap 35. The gap is 2.9 seconds, as you can see on there. So I need to be locking up again. I do not want to do that. Starting to get some oversteer now. The rear is starting to fly. It's just nearly making a spin basically out of that. Raikkonen's getting a bit of time on us, but he's still 14.5 seconds behind. So don't need to really worry about him at this point. But you can see the gap's gone even down now to 2.1 seconds. Hamilton is really giving it the full beans now. As you can just see him in the mirror, it's going to be very close, this is, as we're going to be starting the final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Are we going to get Alonso his first win at McLaren? Are we going to get McLaren on his first win in a very long time? And get our second win in the last the first challenge that we've done on F1 2014. But we have a massive moment out of turn 1, going over the curb. The back end slides out from the rear tyres. They are completely off the cliff now. Can we survive another 2 sectors? It's going to be very close. This is 1.2 seconds is the gap now between us and Lewis Hamilton. and Raikkonen's even gained a bit of time, but it's not going to be doing any yards. But the question is Lewis Hamilton going to get any chance of passing us? Are we going to make any mistakes, are we? But we go onto the grass again, like we did a couple of laps ago with Raikkonen, and that is not going to help us any bit. You can just see Hamilton there on our left-hand mirror. Now onto the right, you can just see his car. We're coming into the start of the final sector now. We've gone extremely light. We've still got marbles on our front left tyre. Starting the final sector, he's 0.3 of a second behind. This is going to be extremely close now. Only got 2 more corners to go. We've got a back marker ahead of us. Hopefully he's not going to hold us up anytime soon. But we're going to come through the penultimate corner, then the final corner, and somehow, some way, we have won the Austrian Grand Prix. Last to first has been achieved. A fantastic race that was from us. A 2-stop strategy only just beats the 3-stopper Lewis Hamilton. What a race that was. An epic way to end the series of last to first on F1 2014. That is extremely close there, and we only just get the fastest lap as well by 0.2 of a second. What a race that was. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. If you get 100 likes, that will be absolutely amazing to end the last of first series on this game. But it will be back for F1 2015. Make sure as well to subscribe if you haven't already for more F1 content and F1 2015 when that comes out on the 10th of July. But I'm going to end it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching this epic race. Until then, guys, have a fantastic day wherever you're doing, and until my next video, have a good day. Take care. See you later.